just got some really bad news in the mail. It turns out we're all idiots. Or at least that's what the LEGO Star Wars designers seem to think. Disclaimer, because I know I'm gonna get comments of straw man arguments telling me about this. I actually love the UCS Gunship. I think that the model itself is beyond my wildest dreams of perfection and excellency, and it's everything that I could have ever wanted. It's amazing, it's incredible, it's awesome, like it's worth the money. I don't even know what to say. I'm at a loss for words for how good it is. However, that is not what this video is about. This video is about the LEGO Star Wars designers and the minifigures for the UCS Gunship, and specifically pertaining to the Star Wars designers, what they've said in interviews about the UCS Gunship, the potential for future prequel sets, and many other things that I find to be a genuine slap in the face to people like myself who actually care about LEGO Star Wars. For a while now, I've been noticing a little pattern where every time I watch or read a interview with a LEGO Star Wars designer, there tends to be at least one thing that is incredibly puzzling to me. And of course, with the recent interviews in conjunction with the reveal of the UCS Gunship, there have been a flurry of incredible quotes that are incredibly puzzling to both me and many other fans. And with these new interviews coming out for the UCS Gunship, about the gunship, about the design process, about their thinking behind it, and the minifigures and all that jazz, it has led me to one very simple conclusion. LEGO Star Wars designers think that LEGO Star Wars fans are stupid. And before I really get into the quotes that they have, which there are some banger quotes they have, I kind of just need to set a ground level of information for everybody watching this video to have, just in case someone there is out of the loop. Back in January of 2020, LEGO Ideas held a fan vote for a UCS set, the three options being a Nebulon B frigate, a TIE bomber, and of course the eventual winner, the Republic Gunship. And of course the Gunship winning, of course with the support of Gunship Gang, led by yours truly, came with much fanfare. There was a lot of excitement behind that victory because it felt like we had done something. And of course we had, the Gunship looks great, but there was a more important part, at least to this video, of that vote that seems to have gone completely ignored. And that is this little box that they added in, which asks, which minifigure would you like to see included in the set you chose? So there's your very short spark notes as to what has led us into this. Because I believe that if that wasn't asked, this video wouldn't exist, and there, quite frankly, would be no conversation, really, about the figures in the Gunship. They really would be irrelevant, and the Gunship would be getting most of the conversation for how excellent it is. I know I say this a lot, and it sounds like a broken record at times, but it's important. LEGO's company slogan is, very simply, only the best is good enough. And of course, we can see them not quite living up to that in many cases, including in this particular set on the box art. They've got the Imperial logo, meanwhile Google exists. And things like this continue to lead me to believe that my spoof interview that I did with a LEGO Star Wars designer last year is sounding more and more real.
We have a slogan.
However, as it pertains to the Gunship, and if we want to exclude LEGO's company slogan from really, extending to the LEGO Star Wars team, maybe we should just hear it from the mouth of a LEGO Star Wars designer themselves.
But no detail is left unturned. Every little garment and weapon and accessory is has to be perfect.
There's absolutely a lot of things to love about LEGO Star Wars, and there's a reason I continue to allow myself to be so invested in it and spend so much time thinking about it every day. But on the flip side, it's that same love and passion that leads fans like myself, and probably many of you guys, to be so frustrated at things like this. So the first quote I'll cover here honestly sounds like a ransom note. About the UCS Gunship, they say, "We do hope there is a demand. I mean, you told us we want this. We want it to be reasonably big. And I hope that not everybody will now say, no, I don't like the minifigures, or I'm not buying because I don't like that brick there. So yeah, I guess if you want to see more sets like this, go and buy it." Honestly, the designers really got to read the room here. They are directly speaking to a group of fans who, rightfully or not, feel like they have been deprived of some of their favorite ships and scenes in the form of LEGO Star Wars for way too long. And the Gunship is a really good example of this, and there are many other good examples of this that hopefully LEGO will come around and do in the future, but that's irrelevant to this video. And you're essentially holding them hostage for $350 each, worrying that if you don't buy this, that we might not have another prequel UCS set for another decade. It has been 11 years since the last one, and there are fair and unfair reasons for that having happened, but obviously the tide is turning, times are changing, and LEGO doesn't seem to realize that. And while the sentiment in this comment of, if this sells well, we will make more things like it, is absolutely valid, it's not what they should be expressing given the previous sentences in the statement. Since they specifically asked about which minifigures we wanted, and we made it very clear which minifigures we wanted in this very expensive set that we wanted to buy, and then they said, oh, so we're not gonna include any of those or any minifigure that's actually any good at all, and then they sit there and infer that you should be buying the set anyway, even if you don't like the minifigures, which they openly asked you to give suggestions for. That's super flawed. The next quote is the true catalyst for this video. It's what inspired the title of this one, which is a pretty good title. Anyway, it was so long, I just split it up into different parts, but the first part of it here is they say we put in 2 minifigures for good measure because people expect it. Even though we keep saying with a model like this, it's not really about the minifigures. We put in minifigures that are appropriate. 2 minifigures was honestly the right number. I don't see why we would get a bunch of minifigures with a set that is not made to play with minifigs. It just makes sense to have the 2 on the display stand on either side. It works very well. It's perfectly fine to only have 2 minifigs in this set. No qualms with that at all. However, implying that people can't care about the Lego minifigs in a set, any set, not just because a set has a really good and beautiful build to put on display, is really flawed to me, because Lego minifigs are such an integral part of the Lego experience and of the the people collecting Lego. They like the minifigs. This has been very clear for the longest time. I mean, we've been begging for May 4th minifigs to come back for like 5 years, and just nothing. Just we're basically talking to a brick wall. And I find this especially puzzling that they say a model like this isn't about the minifigs when they asked us which minifigs we wanted. The next part of the quote referring to minifigs says, I personally feel they shouldn't be super rare collector's items. It's just not okay to put a super rare minifigure into a super high price point because not everybody can afford it. And those minifigures will be super sought after. And I appreciate the virtue signaling, absolutely. But you can't tell people willing and able to spend $350 on a product that you make that you aren't willing to give them something extra special for their patronage. And just because they include, for example, Phase 2 Cody in this set, doesn't mean they can't put him in another set down the line. Although, we all obviously know he should have been in the General Grievous' Starfighter, but that's old news. The biggest question with a statement like this is, where is the line drawn? At what price is it now unfair because some people can't afford it? Because if we're really gonna play that game, the price for everything then should be free. What about last year's Mos Eisley Cantina? That one, like the Gunship, was $350. It included 7 completely exclusive minifigures. How is that fair to people that can't afford a $350 set to get 7 exclusive minifigures? Some of those, of course, being minifigs that may never appear in another set, quite a few of them with brand new molds that may never be used again. And like I said, where does the line get drawn? Is $160 too much with the Dark Trooper in the Moff Gideon's Cruiser? Because that was a really cool character from a really neat scene in The Mandalorian, which is, of course, a very popular piece of media. But what if a kid doesn't have $160? That's just not fair, is it now? So you can see my point. You can see where the logic kind of falls apart. We unfortunately don't live in this perfect world where everything can be free, and as such, some things are going to cost more than others. The next words that you're about to hear are real words spoken by a real-life Lego Star Wars designer, not to be confused with fictitious Lego Star Wars designer Hans Svensson.
Oh, hi, yes, I am Hans Svensson. I work at the Lego company. I work for Lego designing Lego, mostly Star Wars sets. However, I do design other sets other times.
The Clone Commander also doubles as a pilot for this vehicle. Let's be honest, all most people remember from the movies is that there was a yellow clone trooper with some yellow markings on the helmet piloting the vehicle. Look, this is it. The designers have to think we're stupid. They say most people in this part of the quote. However, they fail to realize somehow that most people aren't the people that are going to be buying an Ultimate Collector Series $350 rated for ages 18 and up adult collectible Republic Gunship. The people willing to spend $350 on a rated for 18 years and up Ultimate Collectors Series Republic Gunship tend to be fans that are heavily invested either in Lego, Star Wars, or very likely both, who actually know what they're looking at and actually care about what they're buying. If this set was a microfighter, like the Gunship microfighter that has already existed, which had an inaccurate clone pilot, I could honestly give it a pass. Fair enough. It's a microfighter in the realest sense, made for a 8 to 12-year-old or whatever. Like, fine, if you want to have the it's for kids argument, go have it on microfighters. If this wasn't the perfect opportunity for an accurate clone pilot for a Republic gunship, I don't know what was. Since 2015, when applicable, the correct pilot minifigure has been included for every set until now. We had the Slave One, of course, Boba Fett, the TIE Fighter with the TIE Fighter pilot. We had the Snowspeeder with pilot Zev Sineska and gunner Will Scotian. The Millennium Falcon, which we'll see again here soon, piloted by Han Solo and old Han Solo. The Y-Wing with pilot Dutch Vander, and the UCS A-Wing, of course, with an A-Wing pilot. But the gunship gets a clone commander that doubles as a clone pilot because it also happens to be yellow. The accurate clone pilot for the Republic gunship would look like this. Unfortunately, LEGO can't be bothered to give us that in a $350 set that we're paying them our hard-earned money for. And in fact, they actually already gave us a Phase 1 clone pilot for summer 2021. It was under our nose the whole time. It's the Artillery Trooper. It also doubles as a pilot for the UCS Gunship. It's a clone trooper with yellow markings. That's what most people will see. Very cool, LEGO. Very cool. I love you guys. Make me feel real good. This joke was supposed to be in the video, but I somehow forgot. I saw this Reddit comment, and it's absolutely hilarious. So if we continue to follow LEGO's line of thinking, why didn't they just put Jedi Bob in the set instead of Mace Windu? Because all most people remember from the movie is that some Jedi in some robes were fighting on Geonosis, right? You can see that doesn't really pan out for them. And in the interest of running up the score on the LEGO group, and in the interest of just continuing to make the argument of the fact that this set didn't just have to be an Episode 2 set, which it is, that's a fact, it's an Episode 2 set now that they've released it, but during the development they could have changed that at any time. All they had to do to make this gunship not just an Episode 2 gunship was put in Phase 2 Cody. Change one picture on the back of the box to Utapau. And all of a sudden, since the gunship is exactly the same in Episode 2 as it is in Episode 3, you have yourself a set just like the 2021 R2-D2, which has multiple movies shown on the back, of course, or more akin, because it's minifigures that are from different movies, to the 2017 Millennium Falcon. However, to have the figures make sense in the 2017 Falcon, you actually have to change the design of the Falcon to add the more rectangular radar dish and change the lights on the front or something like that. So if you are denying the point that LEGO couldn't have made this in Episode 2 and 3 Gunship, you are just arguing nothing. You have no point. It's irrelevant. Thank you for the comment, though. So here is their website description. And this is, remember, an Episode 2 set. It says, spark memories of the epic battle of Geonosis in Star Wars The Clone Wars. Very interesting. They're mentioning the Clone Wars, either the TV show or the movie, I don't know, but this definitely isn't based on either. It is a Star Wars Episode 2 Attack of the Clones set, after all, isn't it? Enjoy quality time creating the first ever Ultimate Collector Series version of the Republic Gunship, just like those seen during the Battle of Geonosis in Star Wars The Clone Wars. In fact, Star Wars Attack of the Clones, the movie that this is actually based on, isn't mentioned on the webpage at all. Does that make sense? No. Does LEGO care? No. Do I care? Yes. I mean, if you're gonna sit on your high horse of, this is an Episode 2 gunship, so it can't have Episode 3 figures, which is just completely wrong. LEGO has certainly set the precedent that they're willing and able to do figures from multiple movies in the same set. This gunship is very specifically not from the Clone Wars, because the Clone Wars gunship doesn't have the ball turrets on the side. The Clone Wars gunship has extra doors there that close up. So that makes this even worse. With all that being said, this does have implications for 2022. If I'm reading between the lines correctly, and I like to think that I can pick up on things like this, and I feel like I have in this case, they are saying very, very, very indirectly, but slightly directly, there ought to be a Phase 2 Cody in a set that's like $15 or $20 in January of 2022. Because if that doesn't happen, like how many times do we have to play the, oh, don't worry, they're gonna make it next time game? Like, it always happens, and we always get screwed. I mean, look, Phase 2 Cody should have been Grievous' Starfighter. No question about it. The Grievous Starfighter, excellent build, terrible minifigs, much like the UCS Gunship. To bookend this video, I have some other miscellaneous notes and gripes I have about the Gunship and the reveal. First off, the way that they revealed the set was an absolute disgrace. Second, the Star Wars YouTube channel claims that this was the first LEGO Star Wars fan vote. It was actually, at the very least, the fourth that I can remember. The The instructions say this is the third LEGO Star Wars UCS prequel set, the other two being Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter and Darth Maul. They apparently have forgotten the UCS Naboo Starfighter and UCS General Grievous sets, both of which are included as Ultimate Collector Series sets in two very, very recent books that I own. You can see them here. All of that being UCS. And on top of that, on the LEGO-owned website, bricklink.com, they're categorized under the Ultimate Collector Series name. The lack of consistency is really disappointing, and I wish I could help them, because to me this stuff is obvious and it's very fun for me to categorize this stuff, but they continue to just seem to not care about what fits where and have any real solid concrete organization to the lineup. I mean, today there's 3 UCS prequel sets, tomorrow there might be 2, the day after there might be 5 again. I really don't know. I appreciate that the designer Jens was pressured by the fact that this was a fan vote, and I believe that it does show in the final result of the gunship model.
I would say I though, because it was a fan vote, because of that, I felt a little bit of pressure. We're always doing our best, and we are super happy with the result. But a fan vote, that's something that we know, then people really, really want it, and then it just have to be perfect.
They put the Imperial logo on the box, and now I'm going to have to buy 2 UCS Republic Gunships, or wait 4 months to have the proper one. Google has existed since 1998, and messing this up on the first prequel UCS set in 11 years just makes me sad. The only thing I have for the next bullet point is the word conclusion. In conclusion, LEGO Star Wars thinks we are stupid. We are not. Good day.